Okay, so this is a follow-up to Occupy Wall Street fraud by Power Elite, a psyops. Watch out, major deception program at play. I've got a lot of response from this video, or a little bit anyway, and there's a lot of negative comments. I should have known that it would kind of piss some people off, but my whole objective here is to give you another perspective. Pointing fingers at me and calling me names. It's like, I just laugh at that. It's humorous. And I noticed that YouTube is playing with my account as well, with these internet trolls. And it's just, so obviously I'm touching some nerves here. Maybe hitting on some nerves. But I just got guidance to do. I wasn't even on my radar to do this Occupy Wall Street. So this is a follow-up. And I want to touch on this whole anonymous group that started this Occupy Wall Street. And I also want to touch in on this movie that's coming out called Anonymous on October 28th, the Mayan calendar end date that I just found out about. And I want you to see how you're being played. Remember, the power control force, those that run this world, have a very well planned, well scripted, well choreographed, and well directed plan that they are rolling out in this last days Armageddon rollout scenario. You're being played, people. Until you understand and get what's really going on here and be able to connect the dots at a higher level, you're going to be played over and over and over again. And so if what I'm sharing here, because it's simply just a sharing, does not resonate with you, take what resonates and leave the rest. I'm just sharing perspective. And if it pisses you off, well, then that's maybe something you need to look at. So let's look at this controlled opposition. In an effort to establish a singular global government, the power control force knew and recognized the opposition of their plan would be evident and unavoidable. These opposition forces must certainly be neutralized, they felt, and their voices squelched if the socialists, if they are to implement their plans to conquer the world, were to be rendered successful. They knew this. And so that's what controlled opposition really means. Now, how can you keep leaders from arising? That's what they're wondering. Like, how can we keep people from arising out of the teeming masses to speak out against their plan in favor of freedom? The power control force understood the only way to accomplish this was to create the perception that someone was already fighting the battle of liberty for them. That's why they've started this Occupy Wall Street Anonymous group. And it's brilliant. Wait till you hear what they're doing here. It's just absolutely brilliant. These people know how you operate. They know how the human psyche operates. They know how to manipulate you. They've been doing it for millennia. So don't think you can outsmart them. Well, that is going to change. We are outsmarting them, and that's why they're upping the ante right now. So listen. So they have to find someone who both supports their plan yet can speak out against it. Now that's good. Someone who would gain the trust of the masses. So that's what they look for. People, they have a profile of people who can gain the trust of the masses, then employ divisionary tactics, leading them into tyranny. That's what they want to do, lead you into tyranny through this anonymous group who is implementing this Occupy Wall Street. The power control force is hiding behind the guise of this anonymous group, just like they hide behind common Elenin to implement their HARP technology, dark, sinister programs on the masses. They hide behind these psyops, psychological warfare tactics. You got to understand how these psychopaths operate. Otherwise, you're going to be played. So that's what I'm really trying to help you to understand here. We're all learning at the same time, right? So controlled opposition comes in many different forms and organizations, like this anonymous group, and purport to stand for various causes. Some fill pulpits, others occupy public offices, several are broadcasters, all are deceivers, all are players of a manipulation process called the Hegelian technique or Hegelian dialect. Look it up. Look up controlled opposition. Look up Hegelian dialect or the Hegelian technique. For your own knowledge, understand how these psychopaths operate. Fill your toolkit with survival tools. Learn how they work. While for many it may be hope for humanity, this Occupy Wall Street will be a hope for many of humanity. Watch out for the deception program, because these psychopaths are using it as a ploy, as their Venus trap, to get you out in the streets. The more of you they can get out in the streets with no real agenda, the better. Because what they want to do is implement martial law. Now you wonder why. You have to wonder why. There's all kinds of meanings for this. So, if you were wondering why they didn't start earlier, these, because a lot of people are saying, why didn't these start earlier? Like in 2008, when the financial crisis happened then. Because it's a controlled opposition tactic. They don't want you organizing yourselves. They want to organize it through these anonymous groups. This is the anonymous logo. Look at that. A man in a suit with no head, question mark, with looks like the IMF logo, and the grid system in the back. And green representing what? The heart chakra. Interesting, eh? Look at that logo. Looks to me like something that psychopaths would put together. So these psychopaths who preside over the great changes in America do not create revolutions. You do. We do. They simply seize the control of a nation. Pregnant. Yes, United States is pregnant with revolutionary energy right now. And what they do basically is they herd that energy, right? They herd that revolutionary energy that's pregnant, and they use it for their own purposes. And the transformation in many cases guides these revolutions. So when you are pregnant with anger, like these youth are, who are out there on Wall Street demonstrating, they're angry. Some people are saying, well, they're alive. They're the only ones alive. No, they're angry. They're still asleep, but they're angry. And that's not a good match either. Because all they're doing is going down there and getting their ass whipped. Why? Because they have no sense of direction. We're going to talk about that. No sense of direction. They don't know why they're there. If they don't know why they're there, they don't have staying power. They won't have staying power. It's just a very interesting setup. But the thing that I like the most about this is that it's anonymous. And it's going to be quite revealing as the weeks and days and years ahead. Anyway, Occupy Wall Street is a fraud. The power elite psyops. So watch out for the deception program. Now, New York City Mayor Bloomberg addressed the demonstrations yesterday on radio show, according to multiple media reports, and he said that protesters are protesting against people who make $40,000 to $50,000 a year, who are struggling to make ends meet. That's the bottom line, Bloomberg said. When I read that, I was just like, that is so bogus. He's like throwing in his own ideas of what this demonstration is about. he's just using psychological manipulation, and he reminds me of Bush, of George Bush. Not very smart, just kind of just reading, memos or whatever he's being told to say. I mean, it's just so bogus. There's no relation to what these people are really down there about. I actually don't even know why they're there. But anyway, Anonymous, now this is interesting. Anonymous, which is a Shakespeare movie that's coming out October 28th. In the United States, it opens and it goes worldwide. It's going to be opening worldwide. Remember, October 28th is a Mayan calendar end date. Isn't that interesting that this movie is coming out and the title or the subline is, Was Shakespeare a Fraud? So connect the dots. Anonymous. And you've got this anonymous organization, on the 17th of September came out and said that they organized these Occupy Wall Street, which is they're taking the same model that the Arab Spring, the revolutionary activities that happened in the spring of 2011 with Syria, Libya, and Egypt. And that an announcement came out October 28th, that was last Thursday, that the Arab rule may be getting the Nobel Peace Prize. Can you see here how they're connecting how the dots are connecting? So listen to this plot for this movie, Anonymous. Experts have debated, books have been written, and scholars have devoted their lives to protesting or debunking theories surrounding the authorship of the most renowned works in English literature. Anonymous poses one possible answer, focusing on a time when the cloak and dagger, political intrigue, illicit romances, and the royal court and the schemes of greedy noble Hungary for the power of the throne were exposed in the most likely places, the London stage. Yes, and that's what they use movies. They use movies and they use the media to sucker you into their dark, sinister plan. I found this very interesting that this movie, Anonymous, is coming out right at the same time on October 28th, the Mayan calendar end date. And this Anonymous group is taking the leadership role in this Occupy Wall Street. And you're connecting the dots, people. Can you see anything here? I'm smelling a rat pretty foul here. The rat's smelling pretty foul. But see, more and more people are going to see through the deception program of the power elite, the power control force, these psychopaths. And the more that you can see through the deception, the more is revealed to you in terms of the hidden truth of what's really going on here. So how did Anonymous emerge to occupy Wall Street? The protest profile cannot be measured purely in numbers of street protesters. On the periphery of Liberty Plaza is a parallel internet-based activism buttressing the movement under the banner of the virtual collective Anonymous. These hacktivists are now engaged in the physical action of street protest. Ground fags in Liberty Park communicate back and forth with online activists. The new dynamics of combining street and online activism has significantly underpinned Occupy Wall Street as a distinctive new movement. That's an article. I'll post it in a little snippet from an article that I read. Here's another article. Success of Occupy Wall Street protests not easily measured. They sleep on air mattresses, use Mac laptops, and play drums. They go to the bathroom at the local McDonald's a few times a day. They march down to Wall Street yelling, "This is what democracy looks like." It all has a feel of a classic street protest with one exception. It's unclear exactly what demonstrators want. Yes. So all they're doing is going down there and potentially getting their ass kicked, right? Because they don't know why they're even there. And that's why I'm saying don't get caught up in going down to these demonstrations, because they're really designed as a Venus flytrap, as a trap to get you out in the streets. They want you out in the streets. Heck, you're not working right now. Why not? But their plan is much different than you getting you out there to demonstrate. They are wanting to implement martial law. And if they get more people out in the streets, they can do that. If you have no clear objective, the power control force does not want you to think. Does not want you to have a clear objective. You should have a clear and convincing message and know who is going to deliver it, says the Reverend Herbert Doughty, a longtime civil rights activist who has participated in protests for decades. One of the reasons to get attention is to deliver the message. Yes, the anonymous group doesn't have a message. The power control, that's because it's been implemented by the power control force. They don't want you knowing what the message is, because they don't want you thinking for yourself. Why do you think that so many millions of Americans are on prescription drugs? So many millions of Americans are feeding their addictions and on their butts at home because they're not even interested in any of this getting off their butt and going out and protesting. But they're going to eventually get out there because for absolutely no real reason other than the fact that they're desperate. People are at their last ends. They're desperate. But they don't want you going into the streets knowing why you're there. And the reason why I say stay home and don't get caught in a Venus flytrap is because unless you do your internal work, unless you know your value, what your value system is, unless you know what your self-worth is, what you're worth, you have no business being down on Wall Street. And most of those people don't know. They're directionless. It's like a directionless rudder. Look at this guy. I have a dream, Martin Luther King. He had a dream. This man knew who he was. He knew what he was fighting for. Most of Americans don't know. Most people don't know what they're fighting for. You cannot fight for anything unless you know the truth of who you are. And unless you do the inner deeper work and learn the truth of who you are, you're not going to be effective. And see, the power control force knows this. They don't want you to do the internal work. They don't want you to come to know the truth of who you are. The truth that you are a powerful being with a technology of the heart to transform and transcend this third dimensional construct. They don't want you to reclaim your power. Oh, hell no. They want you to be dazed and confused, anonymous, not knowing really what's going on. They don't want you to know your intrinsic value. Because if you learn what your intrinsic value is, if you do the inner deeper work and learn the truth of who you are, you will fight for your sovereignty. You will fight for yourself and for your family, and you will do it because it's your right to do it, not because you're losing all your external materialistic things. That's just a way to keep you out of knowing who you truly are. And this man, Martin Luther King, he knew who he was. That's how he was able to fight for freedom, for people. And that's why he's remembered, because he knew who he was. And until you know who you are, you have no business going down on Wall Street. You're just setting yourself up to get your ass whipped. That's it. So here, I like this quote from Martin Luther King. Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter. You have to know what matters to you. You losing all your material things and your possessions is not really what matters to you. What matters to you is that you know yourself. You know who you are. You reclaim your sovereignty and freedom, and that's what you fight for. And until you understand and comprehend the truth of who you are and know your value, your own internal intrinsic value, can you be out on any streets protesting about what it is that you want? Unless you know what you want, you just can't be out there. You're just being culled and being used. And that's what's happening. So the people that are out on the streets are really those that are not spiritually awake. And until you awaken to the truth of who you are, you're just going to be a puppet on a string for this power control force. Now one of the things I want to mention to you is that I have a radio show called Big Fish Radio, and I'm going to do a radio show tonight if you want to join in, or you can listen to the archives, and I'll have a link. It's called Return to Sacred Activism, Revolution of the Divine Feminine, and I'm going to talk about activism from the standpoint of this each and one of us and women. It's about kind of the understanding that who is in the evolution of humanity and in the evolution of Gaia, that we will be effective. We can actually be effective in transcending this artificial system and create a system in which honors who we are as a species and which honors our Earth, and not get caught and sucked into these systems that continuously perpetuate us and will actually be our demise. So let's look at this anonymous group here. Anonymous is this anonymous group. Anonymous is the first internet-based superconsciousness. Anonymous is a group in the sense that a flock of birds is a group. Believe that. How do you know they're a group? Because they're traveling in the same direction. Any given moment, more birds could join, leave, peel off in another direction entirely. And here's their slogan for Anonymous, this group that's occupying Wall Street. We are anonymous. We are a legion. We do not forgive. We do not forget. Expect us. Anonymous is a group initiating active civil disobedience and spread through the internet while staying hidden. Interesting. While staying hidden. Do you ever see that movie V for Vendetta? Sounds quite similar to what's happening in the United States. Is very similar in the lines of that movie. In its early form, the concept had been adopted by a decentralized online community acting anonymously in a coordinated manner, usually towards a loosely self-agreed goal and primarily focused on entertainment. Although not necessarily tied to a single online entity, many websites are strongly associated with Anonymous. This includes notable image boards such as 4chan, Futaba, and their associated wikis, Encyclopedia Dramatica. Can't figure out who these guys are. Anonymous has been posited by CNN to be one of the three major successors to WikiLeaks. Anonymous has no leader or controlling party. And relies on the collective power of its individual participants acting in such a way that the net effect benefits the group. Interesting. We have this agenda that we all agree on, and we coordinate and act, but all act independently toward it. This is Anonymous, without any want for recognition. We just want to get something that we feel is important done. See, they don't want people to be empowered. This is power control force. These psychopaths are behind this all the way. According to self-ascribed Anonymous, membership is conditional but easily achieved, being as simple as concealing oneself while performing online activities. Conversely, the simplest act of having one's identity revealed automatically removes oneself from the group. So here you go, people. That's your deception program. Okay? So what I'm suggesting here is that you all stay home and not get caught in this Venus flytrap, because psychopaths are on this like 24/7. And what I'm suggesting you do is to harness the technology of your physical vehicle and harness the technology of your heart. Know your own intrinsic value. Learn your own intrinsic value. And understand that you are a sovereign being. Know your own intrinsic value. And learn how to share your gifts and talents with the world in a way that supports you and those around you. We're in the midst of a very intense transformational period right now. The opportunity is for humanity to evolve to the next level of consciousness. The opportunity is for Gaia to evolve, and that is to remove this artificial system that has been housed on her. She acts as a server. To remove this artificial system so that something new can be formed on her. And that new system is to come out of the collective human species, out of the truth of who we are. But we cannot, unless we wake up to the truth of who we are and know our intrinsic value, can we understand and comprehend the value of honoring and protecting the planet that we are housed in. You see? Unless we understand her value, that mother that houses us in this wonderful system that we're housed in, unless we come to know the truth of her value, unless we come to know the truth of our own intrinsic value, can we really create a world in which is beneficial to all beings. Anyway, I'm going to leave that with you. If you want to journey into the heart with me on Saturdays, go to my website and learn about Journeying the Heart. Yes, I promote my business. And yes, I do things for free. And yes, I volunteer my time and energy to support the evolution of human consciousness. But I have to make an income too. And so I'm not afraid to promote my business on YouTube and other social media. I have to earn an income as well. And if I can support you, and there's a reciprocal exchange, then I'm all about that. And so when I do Journey into the Hearts, it's a nominal fee on Saturdays. It's an hour session. It's a teleconference. It's a wonderful opportunity for you to learn about your biological vehicle and the technology of the heart, and learn what your intrinsic value is. And if you've listened to this YouTube video for this long, I know that you see value in what it is that I'm sharing here. If you have had the capacity to listen for 27, 28 minutes to this video, and you like what you're hearing here, I encourage you to join me, because we can learn about a whole nother way of being if we learn the value of our physical vehicle and how we can use the technology of our heart to transform and transcend this psychopathic system. I hope you will join me. Anyway, subscribe to the channel, stay in the heart, keep listening in, do your own research, trust your own inner knowing, and don't get caught up in these demonstrations, because it's just an opportunity for the power control force to manipulate you and keep you away from your true evolution and your ascension. Bye.